Ahoy there, welcome to Quest for Thunder. For those of you who are not familiar with our channel, this is a channel about fixing up a boat, getting her prepared to move aboard and live aboard her, and then obviously sailing her. Uh-oh. Sounds like there's some work getting done in the shipyard next to us in this marina. Anyway, we're here to take a look at the overhead and see what the progress is on our overhead in the main salon in the aft cabin. And also we've got some leaks that we've detected since the rain has been pretty heavy over the last couple of days. We've had a lot of rain, and our guy Ted, who's been helping us with the overhead project, he was at the boat while it was raining hard, and he was able to find a couple of leaks for us and mark those. I think I know where they're coming from, so we're going to take a look at that, and that'd be a project that we were going to do today. But I don't know if you can tell from behind me, we've got some serious weather in the area, thunderstorms. In fact, I was walking down here a little while ago, and I stopped and went back to the car because there was thunder and lightning, and it was right over the marina. And so we definitely have weather in the area, and I don't want to be pulling anything off and exposing anything that would allow water to get into the boat, even worse than it already is. So we're just gonna have to play it by ear and see what's going on with this weather. If it clears up a little bit, maybe we can do some stuff. There's some things that we could probably do inside. The problem is that we have to keep the port lights closed when working in the boat when it's raining, and some of the stuff I want to do requires good ventilation. So today may be a bust. I hope not, but at least we'll get down below and we'll look around and see what progress we've made thus far. So I can share that with you guys. Jean's back. She's actually giving the dog a bath. I'll swing around there and say hey to Jean. There's Jean over there, giving the dog a bath. Say hey, Jean.
Hey, honey, would you like a bath? You're next.
No, I'll pass. How's he like that? Is he liking that?
Well, he loves water, but not baths, apparently.
He doesn't like baths.
Doesn't he look happy?
Not really. So that's Clyde, and he's our 8-year-old golden retriever. He's getting a bath. I don't know. So when Jean's finished bathing the dog, she's going to come help me, I hope. All right, so let's go below and take a look at how things are below. See what kind of progress we've made. There we go. We've made substantial progress. As you can see, the trim pieces are back up. The battens are back up. All the way back. All the way back. So we've made some significant progress thanks to Ted and his help. And Ted has marked for us with some blue tape where we have leaks, and they're coming in from above the port light. So there's a wooden trim piece that runs along the outside, on the outside of the couch roof here. And it runs along outside, and it's screwed in, of all things, screwed into the overhead, or into the to the couch roof. So it's just up above here. And so Ted was saying that he looked up in there and he could see water coming in on the screws that penetrate. So we're gonna have to pull that piece off out there and see what we can do about plugging those leaks.
All right, so Mark and I were looking at this wooden decorative strip here on both sides of the boat. And there are some leaky issues in some areas, which we've already identified. But the basic thing is we're going to remove some of these wooden bungs here and take the screws out and rebed them to prevent the leaks in areas where there is leaking. And then in general for the whole strip, what we're going to do is sand it down and put a bead of, what'd you say, caulk?
Yeah.
In here just to seal the whole thing, the whole length of the board on both sides. So it should look better too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it needs attention. It's been, it's not been a high priority as far as the aesthetics of it. The varnish is coming off, so obviously the whole thing needs to be sanded off, cleaned up. But right now the principal issue is that where these screws go through, they screwed this through the couch roof, which really just boggles me. I don't understand that, but
it's just decorative.
Yeah, it's just decorative. And so there's leaking now happening on the inside of the couch roof where these screws penetrated above the headliner, and so the water drips down onto the port light and down around the port lights, and it's just ridiculous. So we've got to stop it from doing that. Not to mention the fact that the moisture getting behind this wood, like in this particular spot right here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's getting back there and it's starting to cause the wood to rot back there. So we need to stop that. Or the other option is just to take the whole thing off, fill the holes, and just not have a decorative strip. Which I don't know what you think about that, but I mean it'd be a lot less maintenance to have
less maintenance and less money and effort.
So we might just do that. I don't know.
Just got to make sure we fill in all the holes real good. And
yeah, well, that's pretty easy when they're exposed.
Yeah.
Just fill them with thickened epoxy and
we're done.
We're done, pretty much.
So it'll still be pretty. Just won't have a wood strip.
Yeah, well, a wood strip that varnish flakes off of in this heat, and that leaks inside the boat. I don't know. It's something we have to talk about it and decide what we want to do. But we need to do something, right?
Yes, definitely. Leaks are always going to be with us, but to minimize it and to be on top of it's important.
That's right. So what's Clyde doing?
He's running up and down the dock every time he sees a fish jump. He can do it for hours.
He's looking a little fuzzly because he just had a bath, so he's a fuzzly dog right now.
He loves to jump in the water, but it's too high. He's kind of a wimp like that.
Well, he fell in once over here, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of cured him of coming on the boat.
Unfortunately.
So tell me, Jean, what do you think about the progress below? What about the overhead?
It's beautiful. You've showed them the overhead. You filmed it, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a big difference. It's amazing how it makes it seem more livable just with the new overhead, and gives us more inspiration to keep going and do a lot of other stuff, working on the flooring and all the other new projects.
So we have what? We have finish up in the heads, right? Get the walls faired out in there and painted, and clean up the
new fixtures.
Yeah, new fixtures,
sink
new
and
sink,
countertops and toilets and
new toilet in there.
It's like fixing up a house.
And then so the heads, and then after the heads, we're going to attack the the salon floor, or are we going to do the cabinetry first? What are we doing?
I don't know. Probably the cabinetry. I like to keep the floor for last.
Yeah.
It's livable. I don't mind it too much as long as it's clean.
Yeah, sure.
So.
All right. Well, that's good. So.
I wish I had my sunglasses.
You can talk.
How's it going, Mark?
Well. Okay, well, the original plan was to remove these screws here over the port light here, where the leak is happening. What's happening is the water's getting in behind here, and it's hitting the screw and then wicking into the boat, dripping off the screw and causing leaks inside. So we backed out, so I drilled out the bungs and backed out the screws. Problem was these two screws, they wouldn't come out, they were stripped. And so my extractor tool doesn't work well on stainless. And so it barely got them out, which is problematic because now I don't have screws to go back in there. So this is an issue all around the boat in various places, especially where there's screws. So what Gene and I are thinking about doing, so the original plan was to back these out and then butyl tape and reinstall the screws with butyl tape. Well, in trying to back them out, realizing that I wasn't going to be able to put 2 back in, we got to thinking about, well, what's an alternate plan? And we've sort of decided that we want to keep this trim. We like the trim on the boat, but we don't want it screwed in here. So in order to just stop the leaks for now, because we're not really ready to do this, there's so many other things we want to do inside the boat, but right now we just want to stop the leaks here. And so the temporary fix for now is we're going to pull the screws out where it's leaking, clean up behind it as best I can without removing the trim, and then I'm going to take a marine silicone sealant from West Marine, and I'm just going to shoot it in here and try to fill the holes just enough to keep the water from going into the holes and wicking into the boat. And then when we're ready to come out here and work outside on the deck, when we're ready to do this job fully, what we're going to do is drill all the bungs, take all the screws out, remove the trim, clean up behind it, clean the back of the trim because it's pretty nasty. I don't think it's ever been taken off since the boat was built. That was 35 years ago. So we're gonna take it off and clean it up, and then we're gonna fill all the holes, all the screw holes, with thickened epoxy, and then sand it all up, clean it up, get it nice, and then we're gonna clean this trim up, and then we're gonna put it back in place, but we're not gonna screw it. We're gonna glue it onto the couch roof.
It's pretty messy now, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's better than it was.
It'll be much nicer.
So I've got this one on this side of the boat, and I think I have 2 over on that side of the boat that I have to do to get it just to stop leaking until we're ready to come out here and remove this. So that's what we're doing. So originally the plan was to back out the screws and butyl tape and put them back in and be done, and maybe just clean it up, eventually, and then put a bead of caulk on the top edge. But after getting into this, I realized that's just not going to cut it. So we're gonna go to alternate plan B and completely remove it, and then clean up the contact surface and the trim itself, and then put it back but not use screws. So today I got to finish this side and then go over and do 2 sides over there just to stop the leaks. And I'm going to use just silicone. It's easy enough to clean up when I'm ready to clean out the holes. I can drill them out, and the silicone won't be a problem. So that's what I'm going to do. Wish me luck.
Good luck, honey.
All right.
I'll help you.
What's going on in here, Dean?
I'm sanding. So you use the orbital sander, and so it's still a little rough, so I'm using, what is this, 120 grit to go over it by hand to make it smoother so we can paint it.
What are we painting in here?
Oh, a nice big mural. No.
So which parts are we painting?
We're going to paint white.
Yeah, there.
To match the ceiling, the overhead.
There.
And over here, this
all
wall.
this. And then
And the
this
wall over there
small
too.
section here.
Yep, so it'll be brighter in here. And match the overhead. Nice.
Yeah. So is that pretty easy? Not too hard?
It's not bad. It's
What's the game plan? We try and take it all the way down, or what are we doing there?
no, I think according to what you were saying, just to make it smooth enough so when we apply the white paint, you won't see like a pattern, like a topographic pattern, just a smooth.
All right.
And
So kind of get out any
so make
swirl
it-
marks and
seems like it's pretty nice,
yeah.
but we'll have to dust it off.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to work.
All right, love. All right, so now Mark is doing the sanding on the orbital, and he thinks he gets to take all the video shots and commentary, but I'm going to go down there and film Mark. And we just got to make sure that he's working hard, because most of the time when you see him, he's talking and talking and talking. So let's see him actually in action, working. All right, just a moment. It's going to be loud down there.
can't hear me. What'd you ask?
I was asking what you're doing.
Well, I'm taking the varnish.
Guess I shouldn't ask any questions.
I'm taking the varnish off this bulkhead here. Using 80 grit. I think it's 80 grit. 80 grit sandpaper, taking this down to 80 grit. Roughing it up basically. So that we can come back and hand sand it to 120 grit, and then we can paint the surface with a nice, smooth, even surface. Problem is, why it's so hard, even with the orbital sander, it's taking a long time. And the reason is, I want to turn that music down.
Oh, that's right. Keep talking.
The reason it's so difficult is because the surface is not flat. It's not even. And so it's got a bit of a, you can't see it, but it's not even, and so it makes it. I mean, I'm wrestling this sander because it grabs, you know, and it just makes it really difficult. So you can see spots like it's sanded here, but it's not really sanded all that well right there. It's sanded over here, so you can still see the varnish because it's uneven there, and the sander won't get into it. So one of the things we have to do when we hand sand is we have to make sure that we, you know, because when you're hand sand, it's a little easier to deal with the unevenness.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what we're doing.
All right. Keep working.
All right.
I knew I shouldn't ask him any questions, but he is doing a good job, and he's explaining everything in great detail. So we're going back to work.
Okay, Thunder, that's it for this week. Say goodbye, Gene.
Goodbye.
You guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel and sharing these videos with your family and friends. Help us grow this channel. We would really appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to make comments below, please do. Gene loves comments.
I make a lot of them to you.
She's going to answer all comments.
Oh,
Right?
as long as it's not something too technical.
Okay. Gene doesn't do technical comments. She only does pretty comments. Right?
I guess.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and we hope you'll come back to see us next time. So from the crew of Thunder,
Fair winds and following seas.
bye.